How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we are continuing on the discussion series, going over the decks in the Zenkai Series Set 1, being Set 18, Dawn of the Sea Legend, and now we're covering the second one for Blue, being Blue Otherworld Pikkon. So this is the second Pycon leader we got. We got one after requesting it for a while, back in Set 12, but we weren't actually given a Pycon deck. Like, even if we got a Pycon leader, we weren't given a Pycon deck, because the old one was essentially, imagine you have a bottle or something, like a bottle of Coke with Sprite slapped on the label. That's essentially what the Pycon deck, it was just Pycon was the leader, but the whole deck revolved around Gogeta, so we got shafted in that, and people have been wanting a new one for ages, like myself included, some other people I know, and we finally get a new Pycon deck, and that's actually focused on Pycon, and this one seems quite fun. Like, even though it's a blue deck, and I do hate blue decks, it's a little bit different because it's more aggressive than it is holding off and playing late and slowly like most blue decks are. They're more like mid-range late game decks, but this is more of a kind of push, which I do like in most decks. But before we do get into it, about the archetype and some stuff about the Blue Otherworld Pycon, first of all, I do want to give a shout out to DBS Deck Planet for being the best and only deck builder in the game, giving us great features like being able to import our decks right into Antap so we can test them, or even printing them off so we didn't have to write them out tediously before an event, with a dedicated team, and it's a deck builder that's built by the players, for the players, with a great owner in Tristan. And as well as that, check out Duke's Gaming as well for all your TCG needs if you're in the UK. A great shop, great owner, and they're currently sponsoring the webcam locals as well. So if you have any TCG needs and you're from the UK, check them out. Descriptions down below. And lastly, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because it helps me know that you're enjoying my content as I put it out, and also helps me get to my goal of 1,000 subs, which I'm currently almost coming up to halfway there, almost, which will reach a 500. And when I do get to 500, not only will I trigger a giveaway that I do at every 100 subs, but it also I'll also be able to then give out details of what I'll do when I get to 1,000 to see if you want to help me push that point. And trust me, you're gonna want to see it. So now let's get into the video and check out Blue Otherworld Pikkon. So, like we always do, let's check with the leader first, and this one gets a Z leader as well. So, I think it is only red that gets that, where both decks get a Z leader, which seems a bit unfair, but we can't have everything. We can't have everything we want. And if deck didn't get a Z leader, it got a very good Z card in a form of Z battle card for it. But fortunately for Pycon, he gets a nice little Z leader, which is actually quite decent, quite nice, and gives you like a really great turn 3. And as you can probably tell from just how this starts off compared to the Goku video, I'm more invested in this blue deck because I like Pycon. He is a great character, I feel, and the way it plays is really interesting to me. So, starting from the front side of the leader, he's got 2 autos. One is just what most leaders have to gain some advantage on the front side, and the other one is an alternative awakening, which is not built into the awakening, which is quite weird and quite interesting. So the first auto is simply when it attacks, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 blue card, so any 1 blue card with entry cost of 1 among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. That means you can grab any 1 cost specified Unison. No, it's not a Unison because they're X cost, not 1 cost. Ignore that. But you get to find any extra card or battle card that energy cost of 1. So that means if you want to look for a bean, you can find it. D-Magic, you can find it. Any of the 1 costs that are in the archetype, you can find it. It gives you a ton of things to search. And with any blue card, it's just a nice feeling. Like being able to search for a bean is very, very fun. And then the way you can alternative awaken is if you have 2 or more energy, that's the requirement. When one of your energy is added to your Z energy, you may flip this card over, and if you do, you get to draw 2 cards and then take your life down to 6 life left, and then flip over. So, yeah, that's quite nice. And just the only thing I don't like about it is if your opponent's got no, it won't even affect it. Never mind. But then after that, you've got your awakening, which is just 4 less life, draw 2. So if you want an alternative awakening, you can down to 6. And if you don't, you just at 4 life you draw 2, so both ways are just drawing 2. So you drawing cards to not get back any energy, which is an odd one for blue. Blue normally has some way of like untapping energy with some awakenings and stuff like that. But drawing 2 cards gives you extra advantage in your hand, which is really nice. And then when you do, you flip over to now Paikuhan. Well, I'm just going to keep saying Pycon. I don't like Paikuhan. I mean, a lot of people will agree with that probably. And he's the West Galaxy Warrior, coated in his main move as well. So he's still got 2 autos, and now he has an activate main. So the first auto is when it attacks, draw 1. Very basic. Like a pretty horrible downgrade compared to the front side auto, but still is better than Goku being able to draw and attack without discarding a card. And it's got another auto where once per turn, if it's your turn, when one of your energy is switched to active mode by one of your blue card skills, you get to return one of your opponent's battle cards to its owner's hand by choosing one. So that's quite nice, and there's a lot of ways to trigger it. You can trigger it by Bean, you can trigger it by the extra card we'll see in a bit, which is like an old one that works with the deck, and there's other things like if any blue card untaps your energy, like even some of the cards to help bring out your chain as well, do that, and do it for free as well, essentially for free. You can trigger that, just bounce it. It's not great bouncing the hand, but as I said before, if your opponent's got Z battle cards out that they still have there from the turn previous, and it doesn't have barrier, room for game. And then you've got a way to help facilitate your chain to give you some advantage, which is the activate main once per turn, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. Now it's quite nice to just temporarily like switch out a card, but it also is a great use of being able to top deck Pycon cards for your big boss card, which we'll see in a bit. And now we go on to the Z leader. So this Z leader is a unique one in that it doesn't require a life total like the other ones do. I think all the other ones require a life total. Pycon doesn't. It's just awaken. You need to be a blue Pycon leader on its awakened side, pay 1 blue energy, and send 4 cards from your Z energy to your drop to play the top of your awakened Pycon leader. So that's really nice, and it's a base 15k double strike, so it doesn't have the benefit of like some of the others where it's a base, it's like a higher power being like base 20. It's not the same as those, which is a shame, but you are a base 25, you are a base 15k double strike, which is a good benefit. And you still have 2 autos and activate main, but they're a little bit different. So the auto is a lot better with the attacking, which is when it attacks, you get to draw 2 cards, then place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. So now you essentially got the auto and the activate main from the normal awakened side built into this, which is quite nice. So just being able to draw C2 and then top deck another card is quite nice, because if you got, once again, you still have that top deck in a Pycon card to trigger, to allow you to trigger the big boss Pycon's effect to gain advantage that way and get an extra effect. And as well as that, you get to see 2 more cards in one go, which is nice as well. And then it's got another auto where when this card's power is increased by one of your Pycon card skills, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place it on top of its owner's deck. Now that's nice, but like when I first saw this from the spoilers at San Diego, I thought this is going to be pretty nice. It's gonna, like if there's enough of it in the deck of like Pycon cards that give power to cards, you can do a lot of top decking. If there's enough of it, you can potentially have a deck, because if you're just doing it one at a time, which what this deck does, then it's not going to make any impact, because in Dragon Ball decks draw quite a few cards. You draw 1 for turn, 1 as a lever swing, and then outside that you can draw more cards from other cards. And unless you can do quite a lot of top decking cards, it's not going to make much impact. Like you're not going to have a lock in this deck really in this game. But it is a nice benefit because it's either player's turn as well. So it's not just like the fronts on the normal awakened side where it's in your turn. It's either player's turn. So if you get give a power boost by a Pycon card skill to this lead, you get the bottom deck one of the cards. That's a nice defensive kind of tool. And the way that we can get a good turn 3 aggressive turn in is with the activate main, where it's once per turn. So otherwise it'd be insane if you could keep doing it more than once per turn. You return one of your blue Pycon cards with an energy cost of 8 to its owner's hand, and that's the cost. And then you get to play up to 1 blue Pycon card with energy cost of 5 from your hand. So that's nice. Like the chain, as we'll see in a bit, is a 5 until 8, and this allows you to bounce back the 5 to pre-play the 8 and try and go through it again, which is really cool. Like there's a really strong turn 3 in this deck, and it's is my jam. So that is the leader and the Z leader. Now let's get on to the Pycon cards for the deck. So here is the chain plus a Pycon card we saw earlier in the Goku one. That can be played here. It's not as easy to play in this because you don't have easy free extra cards like in Goku, but it is another option, and it's a Pycon card as well. Like, I think I've cut it from my builds that I've been testing at the moment, but it's still good to go over it. So we'll start with the chain. So the Pycon cards, we got Paikuhan testing the opposition, and then it goes into Pycon, another world champ. So the 5-drop is a 5-cost, 20k deflect, but during your turn, it's got a permanent where during your turn it gains barrier. So when it comes down as barrier deflect, but only during your turn. So on your opponent, if it's still on your opponent's turn, it's vulnerable to being targeted. And it's got 2 activate mains. The first one requires 2 energy, and for you to place 1 freeze card and 1 cell card from your energy in its owner's drop areas is the cost, and you get to play this card from your hand and then place up to 2 cards from the top of your deck in your energy in rest mode. Remember, it's place up to 2 as well, so if you get in the later turns and you're getting fill on your deck, you can always choose to either go for 0 or just 1 or 2. You can go up to, so 0, 1, 2, the charge into your energy from the top of your deck. But you might look at that and think, what if you hit your secret rare and stuff like that, that's going to suck. It's not actually that bad, because there are ways to get the cards back from your energy not using the Zeno Super Combo, so never worry if your secret rare hits your energy, it just means it's safe there. And then we have the Ever Activate main, and yeah, this one is a little bit cheaper in 1 blue energy, and it's how we go into the 8-drop, because if your leader is a blue Pycon card and you return this card to his owner's hand as the requirement, as the cost, you play up to 1 blue Pycon card with energy cost 8 from your hand, and if you played a card, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck. So not only do you get to play this nice 8-drop from hand, you also get the bottom deck stuffing on your opponent's board through barrier, which is excellent. This, like, one of the biggest boxes I have for any deck that I want to play is, does it have barrier removal or a way to do cheap barrier removal? And this ticks that big box for me, having this part of the chain being removal in that way. That's fabulous. And the 8-drop is a great one to go on after it as well. It's a 8-cost 30k with dual attacks. It does have deflect, so it is vulnerable to counter plays, but 8-drop means it's going to be affected by, like, Freeze's charismatic. Like, the chains are unaffected by charismatic in green, which is a nice thing, because it always sucked when you have like a chain and some of it was vulnerable to charismatic, like example being Catapesla chain. The 5-drop is vulnerable to the freezer, but this isn't, but it is vulnerable to ever counter players, so you have to be careful. So as well as dual attack, it has activate main and activate battle. So the activate main is an effect which allows you to, as a cost, you switch this card to rest mode, and then you switch up to one of your blue energy to active mode, and you can't attack with battle cards for the turn. So this is a nice effect where if you get stopped from being able to attack anymore with this card or any cards, you can just start going, okay, if I can't attack with this, I'm going to get some value out of it, and then just untap your energy. This is nice for if you get Violent Raised or Baby Hatched or anything like that, or Floodgate with like Dormant. It's a nice way to just go, okay, I'm going to get my energy back, while also looping through the chain and get potentially 2 of these off. Well, if you do 2 of them, you only get 1 plus energy instead of 2, because you got paid a 1 for the 5-drop. And the way you get a value from your leader's second effect, the auto, is by this activate battle. So this is once per turn. Look up to 1 card from the top of your deck, add up to 1 blue Pycon card among them to your hand, then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck. If you added a card to your hand, you get to choose up to 1 of your blue cards, and it gets 5k power for the turn. So it's really nice. So this is a way to trigger your Z leader's effect to top deck 1 of your opponent's battle cards if you choose your lead. And you can always give it to this card as well to make it a 35k base, which is even nicer as well. Just to gain extra card that you know was there and what it was anyway, because you got many ways to top deck it. And then making this 35k dual attacker is really, really good. And then we got the Pycon Dead Height. I already went over this in the Goku, but we'll go over this in this one because just people, anybody misses the other one. It's a 4-cost deflect dual attacker, which can come out for 2 with his activate main, which is once per turn, because limit 1. And you need to be at 3 more energy and discard 2 mono blue extra cards from your hand. So you do have to chalk your deck up full with extra cards to be able to make this like worth it. but there's a good one you can drop. That's not too bad with it. And you get a player's card from your hand and gain barrier. And it's because it's dual attack. Its first auto triggers twice, which is when it attacks. You can choose the one mono blue battle card with a 5k combo power from your drop, use it in a combo with its skills to get for turn. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and bottom deck it. So you can do it twice. So you can pop that 2 cards while getting 2 Z energy, essentially, because you combo with the drop, and it gains you a bit of value at the end of the turn by using its second auto, which allows you to draw 1 card and untap an energy, mono blue energy at the end, which is quite nice. Like, it's not the great, it's better in the Goku deck than it is in this one, but being a Paikuhan means it has some synergy with this. So that is the Pycon cards. Now let's have a look at some other parts. So there are some other Pycon cards. So you might have been thinking, since we went over the leader's second auto on the front side, what allows you to charge the energy from your energy to your Z energy in this deck? Well, now we can go over the Pycon Glimpse of Might. So this is the one drop that comes in the set that helps you trigger that, and the other 2 are some of the old Pycon cards which actually are decent in this deck. So the Pycon that comes in the deck, it's 1 cost 4k, like all of them are, they're all 1 cost 4ks, and it has both its effects are limit 1. The second one's not going to be relevant in most builds because I don't think you're going to play it, but if you want to, we will still go over it. So the first auto is limit 1. If your leader is a blue Pycon card, that's the requirement. When this card is played, you add up to 1 blue battle card from your energy to your Z energy, and if you do, add this card to your energy. So essentially, you just pay 1 by tapping a blue battle card in your energy, and then trigger this auto. Put that energy you just tapped, because it should be a blue battle card, in your Z energy, and then you get to charge this. And then that triggers your leader's effect. So turn 2, you can play this, and being a 1-drop means it's searchable from your lead to try and find it as well, which is nice. And then the activate main is a way to help, like, trigger the rejuvenate, that's the word, escaped me for a second there, on your Unison that comes from the deck. And it's a activate main, limit 1, choose up to 1 super Pycon card, choose up to 1 super Pycon True Master in your Unison area and place this card under it from your drop. So yeah, so it's got a use when it's in the drop as well. So let's have a look at these 2 other 1-drop Pycons from the set. So, like, there's not many good Pycon cards from the old original one because they're just there supporting Gogeta. So these are the 2 that actually have effects that could be useful that aren't related to FG. And we're going to go over the first autos because the other ones require you playing the stuff that was from the old one, which we're not, and you probably wouldn't. So the first one, Pycon, supporting his comrades, is also as when this card is played, you look up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 mono blue card among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the top or bottom of your deck in any order, and you can't play copies of this card for a turn. So this is a really nice one because you get to look at the top 2 cards and choose any mono blue deck card, which is going to be most of your deck, and add one to your hand and put the other one at the top or bottom of the deck. Having the choice of being at the top or bottom deck is great because if you find a Pycon card and you need it for on top for the 8-drop, you can leave it there. If it's something else you want to swing and draw with to get it back, leave it there. If it's something you don't want and you want back in your deck, you can put it to the bottom. And then we got Pycon Flawless Technique. And this is a nice one where if you want to get yourself down further, like, because being at 6 life isn't great, and sometimes you're going to want to go down to 4 or even 5, so that way you can trigger your token negates or have super combos live. And this is a nice one to add because it's auto. If your leader is a blue Pycon card, when this card is played, you draw 1 card to replace itself. Then you get to add up to 1 card from your hand to from your left to your hand, and then choose 1 card in your hand and place it on top of your deck. So this is the way you're going to awaken if you need to, and you don't really gain. You only gain something if you take a life. If you don't, it's actually checking to see what you're putting on top of your deck, ready for. And it's another way to start at the top of your deck for the 8-drop. So these are nice cards. I normally go for the supporting comrades over Flawless Technique because there is a Z battle card that can help you get it from 6 to 5 anyway. That's then always live for you. So let's see what we've got for setting up the Pycon chain. So as I mentioned before, we have the 8-5 drop that goes into the 8-drop. That's basically the chain. And to do that, you need to send a Sell and Freeze from your deck. So this is the Sell and Freeze that come in the set that you can play. So it's blue and works mainly with the Pycon lead in both. Both their effects on each of them, but they can use the first one effect first auto in the Goku if you wanted to. It's just not as good as the other ones because you mainly want to focus on getting the Angel Halo stuff. And we've also got bubbles because that also supports both. Because you can use this as you can switch it with the leader and then sack it off to try and find some of your 1-drops like the Freezer and Cell if you want to. So the Freezer and Cell both have the same they have a similar auto where when this card is played, you look up to 5 cards from you look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. You either add the ever one to your hand, so Cell finds Freezer, Freezer finds Cell, or another World Budokai card that is both blue and with an entry cost of 5 or less among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So essentially searchers. So you search each other or another World Budokai card, which is mostly your battle cards. And not only that, but so that's the thing if you want to play them, which is always good because you can use them from the drop as well. And they both have they have different activate main skills. They're both limit 1, so you can only activate them once per turn across all copies of the card. But they are useful and you're free to get into your energy if you want to. So Cells 1 is by paying 1 blue. If your leader is a blue Pycon card and you place 1 of your blue energy in your owner's drop area, which is normally going to be the energy you pay for it, you then add this card from your drop to your drop to your energy in rest mode and switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode. And this is a free way every turn if you don't go into your Z leader to trigger your awakened leaders also to bounce 1 of their cards. So that's a really easy way to do it. And the Freezer is how you get back stuff from your energy that you ramp that you didn't want in there. And that's by triggering the activate main of if your leader is a blue Pycon card and you add 1 of your blue energy to your hand. Well, if you add 1 of your blue energy in active mode to its owner's hand, you then discard 1 card from your hand, then add this card from your drop area to your energy. So essentially you bounce back something as active mode in your energy that you want back in your hand, discard something else, and then charge this from your drop. So really easy ways to manipulate your energy and get back stuff in your energy that's not there, so nothing's off limits apart from your life, really, or per drop. And then I include the bubbles just because it's activate main. First one, limit 1, is a way to just discard it from your hand to try to search these, or even the ever 1-drop Pycons, or apart from the old ones, and even the not even the 5-drop. Never mind. But this is a nice way to try and find the Cell and Freezers if you want, if you put more in there. But it's a better promo for the Goku than it is for the Pycon, but it can still be used. So that's how you can help with starting up the Pycon chain. And then we have some super combo options. So unlike Goku, where really you kind of want to go with the Grand Kai, since otherwise if you drop a super combo and you can't get rid of it from your drop, it's gone because being a 10k means you can't really use it for things like the androids, Unison, or the Pycon Dead Heat. So it's harder to get out the drop. So with that deck, you want to mainly use the Grand Kai as a super another Budokai card. Means it can be leader can use it to get rid of it. But Pycon doesn't have that issue, and it has some really nice options. So you can use the set of super combos that most colors run at nowadays, which is the ones from set 11, which are the ones where if your leader's blue, if your leader's the same color as the super combo, your life's 4 less, and all your energy is the same color as the Unison, then you get to give the card a 10k combo power, and then you get to choose the bottom deck of card from your hand and draw 2 cards. That's the one that main decks play, unless you're green and you got the choice between that and Paragress as good ways. But you also have other options where you can have Grand Kai, grandest of all, being able to be searched off Freezer and Cell, and even the bubbles as well if need be. Or you can have options to sell Zeno. It's more of a defensive one, but gives you a cantrips one, being able to use your energy to play this to cycle through your deck, and then give you access again with another option to cards your energy, but more defensively. So that's an option. Like I go for the Vegeta because I go for an aggro deck, and I want to get myself down the 4 push. But you can go for you got some good ever options here if you wanted to. And then we have the Unison and ever options. So I've gone with these ones because there we got the one that comes with the set, one that came with the old deck, and one that I've been using that I feel is quite good with the quite a good option for the deck. You do have ever ones, but normally your chain can come down to turn 3 and you can be aggressive with it. So it's not that much. It's not really a defensive deck, this blue deck, which I'm finding. So we've got Super Pycon True Mastery as the Unison that comes with the deck. It's a 2 cost 15k, like all of them are, and it's got Rejuvenate, where once per turn you can remove 5 markers from this card and attach a card from underneath it to put a card from the top of your deck into your life. It's a nice benefit, and you can easily use the 1-drop that helps you self-awaken early to put underneath it if you need be. But outside that, it's not a particularly great one. Like, it has a +2, which is quite nice, which is activate main. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 blue card among them in your drop, then shuffle your deck, so you get the mill card from the top of your deck, which isn't beneficial if you don't find a Cell or Freezer. But it's +2 though, so that's relevant. And then you do have a +0/-0, which activate main, draw 1 card, and place it to 1 card from your hand under this card. So you do gain a card, but then you put a card under the Unison, so you're not really gaining anything from that. And then you got a -6, which activate main, add it to 1 Pycon card from your deck to your hand and shuffle your deck, which is a heavy cost, and it doesn't have the skill Empower, that's the one, to gain more markers early, because you don't want to leave that around for ages +2ing to get the 6. You can just draw into them or use the other ones to search. So it's not the greatest Unison, but if you want to play fully themed, that's an option. And the one from the old deck is Freezer and Cell are match made in hell. It's got Rejuvenate, but it is one once per turn with remove 4 markers from this card, and it details it a bit more because it was when the skill first was released back in set 12. And it's got an auto as well, where once per turn, when a card in the battle area is returned to its owner's hand by a skill, you get to draw 1 card, then choose 1 card from your hand and place it at the top or bottom of your deck. So it's never with a stacked deck, but you're not gaining anything off that. And it does have a +1, which does allow you to get some advantage by choose up to 1 of your blue battle cards in your hand with energy cost of 1 and play it. So that allows you to potentially on your turn 2 play this and then free play out the one that helps you awaken, and then still have an energy untapped for it. That's a nice benefit. So have your energy untapped after dropping the Unison, so have a Unison down and still awaken early using this. But so that doesn't do much because it's not gaining you anything. It's not setting you up for anything later on in the game, and you've got other ways to top deck cards for your big 8-drop Pycon. So it's just an option that you can have if you want to. And then we got Hit Battlefield Manipulator, that I feel is a great one, because you can ignore the first auto because you don't have any arrival in. It's +1, activate main, draw 1. So I find sometimes you just want to draw a card because a lot of cards like drawing and then topping deck or replacing yourself at the same time. But you don't really gain much advantage actually your leader to just draw. You're normally just replacing things with in your deck, which is not amazing, but that's where the hit comes in. And I found a lot of time when you have a Unison down, people have a high focus deck. It puts a massive target. It's like putting in a massive target going hit here, because people get scared of the draw 1 on it, thinking you get too much advantage off it when it's normally going to come down, be there for 1 turn, and then going to swing into it. But it's going to at least guarantee you, like most of the time, it's going to be guaranteed that you still have to turn 3 because of it, because they want to get rid of it. And that's a nice thing because it comes down, needs 3 attacks to get rid of it, which is nice. Draws you a card and makes sure you get to that turn 3. It's almost like a baby hatch in a sense. Sometimes when you play this, which is great, and it just looks nice as well. But the other activating is not going to be useful because you're not ever going to want to use it. And it's not as relevant anyway because Z leaders can't be flipped over because it doesn't. If a Z leader is on there, it's got no backside, so it doesn't affect it. But those are Unison's other options. And now we've got some extra cards that are searchable on a leader that are pretty nice. So one of the old ones as well from the old set, from the old Pycon deck, is West Galaxy Revival. Now I'm only going to go over the first effect because the second effect is not great, and it's relevant. You never really play it. It's more for the first activate main. And this is if your leader card is a blue Pycon card, you draw 2 cards, then choose 1 card in your hand, place on top of your deck, then switch up to 1 of your mono blue energy to active mode. And you can activate the activate main skills on copy to this card for the turn. So that's another way how you can get top deck a card for your 8-drop, and also untap an energy for your leader's awaken side to bounce one of the battle cards, which is great. Like, it sucks it's not a blue Pycon card. It would be nice if it had a permanent saying this card is a Pycon card, but It is what it is. But it's a really nice deck. I normally like. It's one that you can play 4 copies of it because it's just draw power to go through, so cycling through, and helps you sort out your also help towards putting the 8-drop to get more value out of it as well. Another one that's similar to it is Intersecting Fates, but it's more a delayed one. Because this one is activate main. If your leader card is blue, you could look at top 2 cards of your opponent's of your deck, and one to your hand, but your opponent doesn't get to see it because you're adding any card from the top from those 2 to your hand, and you get to place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And at the end of the turn, you get to switch up to one of your mono blue energy to active mode. So West Galaxy Roll lets you look at 2 and top deck 1, because in top deck, which helps with the strategy, and then untap your energy straight away. But Intersect Fates allows you to look at 2, grab any one card among it, not your opponent doesn't get to see, and then bop deck the other one, but it waits until your opponent's until the end of the turn to switch the energy to active mode, which isn't great. Because you normally want it straight away with this. And then Senzu Bean is a good one, because where you're being aggressive when you go to turn 3 to do your chain, you normally want to give yourself some extra energy as well to drop the Z leader so you can make the chain happen, and maybe even an extra 1 energy as well so you can do the chain twice. Because doing the whole chain requires 3 energy, and if you want your Z leader out, that requires 1, and so does doing it a second time, so you need 5 energy. So Bean is quite important for your turn 3 as well. Then we have some other extras that are searchable to leader. So these are Everglows. We all know about D-Magic, like it's a standard good one for blue. We also know Realm of the Gods being a great one for just defensive draw and combo power, while also being good removal as well, because bottom decking something big that your opponent drops. But the Never card that comes in the set that's really good for the Dead Heat, the Pycon v Goku card, is Thunder Flash, because this is one that you want in your drop. You can use it in your hand because it is a counter attack and you get the attack, just a simple negate if you need be. But it's got another effect that activates in the drop that's really beneficial for Pycon. So you can put more copies in it, you can ditch 2 of these off the Dead Heat and it's in your drop ready for your Pycon cards. And it's an activate main with a 1 blue energy. If your leader is a Pycon card and you send this card from your drop area to your warp, you choose up to 1 of your blue Pycon cards and it gets 5k power and double strike for the turn. So it's quite nice to make your big 8-drop an extra, like a 35 or 40k if you use the effect on the 8-drop to make a double strike dual attacker. It's really good. You can make your normal Awakened leader a double strike. You won't need to use it on your Z leader because it's already built in double strike. But being able to give the option by just paying 1 warpness from your drop to give any blue Pycon card 5k power, and as well as that double strike is really handy, especially on that 8-drop. Like that's how you're normally pushing through games. And even on Dead Heat, if you get the turn 3, you just want to drop Dead Heat and do the chain later, you can even drop this and another extra card from your hand to drop the Dead Heat. Use this on Dead Heat using that extra 3rd energy you've got. Make it a 20k double strike and attack twice, and then it goes at 25 when it uses auto as well. That's really nice play. And then once again, ever extra tech cards. So ever extra techs being absolute respawn is a nice way to not worry too much about floodgates. If you can get yourself down you've got other ways to get yourself down to 4. You can just like awaken early using the 1 drop, and you got that old Pycon that allows you to take your life to help you get down if you need to. And release ball's a nice one to stop floodgates from coming in. The only one it doesn't really hit are ones that, well, it doesn't hit. The only ones it doesn't hit are 20k, the 4 cost ones. Like I think the only one it doesn't hit is Ready to Rumble. That's the only one it doesn't. But that's in blue decks which go on the late game, which is not often that you see, or not often hoping to get to with this. And you even have Dirty Breath, which is a very good one coming in the upcoming format. If you're scared of Gogeta 8-drop, this is probably one you want to stock up on if you play blue to help deal with it, because where its counter play affects the player and not the Gogeta, it means the Gogeta can't attack because of its skill, which you can see on this board. And another old card we've got that's quite interesting tech is Paikuhan Controlling Force. So this is a never Pycon card, so it counts with Pycon stuff. Be on a Pycon card for the 8-drop. And there's also a negate if need be. You can D-Magic, negate 1 attack, untap 2 energy, then use this to negate a next never attack as well. And also when you do use it, it's not just a negate attack, it also plays itself. So it's negate attack and play itself as a counter, 2 cost 10k. And it's got auto when it's played, you use one of your opponent's battle cards and return it to his owner's hand. So where your bottom bang some stuff out the hand is not great, but if your opponent's got a card that they've just heavily invested in that doesn't have barrier they attack with, neat attack, play this, bounce it, and this is like Z battle card killer, because if it doesn't have barrier, negate attack, bounce that Z battle card, and it's gone for the game. But not only that, you do have, if you go into the long game and go later on in the turns, you get the 5 energy. If you negate this and then go to 5, you then got a nice auto in its second one by paying 3. If you have 5 or more mono blue energy, and you place this card at the bottom of his opponent's deck as the requirement and cost, you at the start of your main phase choose up to 1 blue Gogeta card with an original energy cost of 8 in your hand, or 1 blue Pycon card with an original energy cost of 8 from your hand, and play it. So there's never a way to get the 8 drop out in the later turns if your chain can't be dropped, which is quite cool. And then that brings us to the Z battle card on blue, which is going to be the same kind of thing. Is Goku. These ones are quite nice. Nothing more to say that I didn't say in Goku. They're just great ones. Like Z cards are really nice. That the fact that they're cards that you have access to at all points. So if there's any one you need, and as we get more choices, and they're just available at any point. You don't have to draw into them, which makes them so strong. But if they're removed from the battle area, they're removed from the game. But if you got ones like the Vegito, it can be hard to interact with, and these are more later ones. Like the ones that you're mainly going to use from this in Cell are on Pycon are the Cell, potentially to wipe your opponent's board if they've got like a really wide board or a load of blockers, to get a 25k critical attacker down, and a potentially 25k triple strike critical attacker as well. And then you got the Ever Goku as a way to have removal at any point you want, and also allows you to put that drop the Thunder Crash or Thunder Flash in the drop, draw a card, and give yourself 15k critical. So it's not too bad. The one I did miss off here is the promo 1-drop black Vegeta BR Z battle card, because that's the way to help get your stuff take life. That is really nice, because you can awaken it and go down to 6 when you do the alternative awakening, and you can play that, which only requires 1 energy, any 1 energy, and any 1 Z energy, the drop, and that can help you take yourself down to 5, so you have the token negates available to save the survive until the turn where you're going to try and kill, which is good. And then last but not least, we have the secret rare options. So once again, just like the Goku one, we have these options. Like Baby Hatch is a really good one to make sure that if you don't kill him on your turn, if you try to push in and kill him on your turn 3 with your chain, but you can have Baby Hatch to basically just go, nope, I'm going to have another try. Or you can have Kaioken Son Goku, because if it gets lit, you can potentially drop this as just a free 40k triple attacker if your opponent gets the 4 more energy. So this is a nice one for going second if you want to, and be a bit more aggressive if you don't really care about having Baby Hatch at all. So that's an option. And then if the ultimate skill change for Zenkai Series wasn't in effect, this Pycon card would be a really good one with the chain, because it's an 8-drop Pycon, which is a really nice one to go with the chain, 40k. If it didn't get removed from the game when it removed from the battle area, this would be amazing for it, because you'd be able to drop this out, have a double strike dual attacker that allows you to look at your opponent's hand, see what they've got, and bottom deck one that's 7 or less, so you can get rid of super combos so it's harder for them to combo out of this, and have this as another way to pressure your lead. But I feel that Baby Hatch is a better one just to make sure you can survive if you don't end up killing them on that turn. So that's just my opinion. You could give it a try, it's up to you, but these are very good ones for the Pycon deck, all 3 of them. And they all have different choices, and also people have different preferences, so that's a good option. But that brings us to the end of it. That is the Pycon deck for Zenkai Series. Are you hyped for it? Are you glad we finally got an actual Pycon deck? If you are, then feel free to give it a try. It is a really nice one, and trust me, you'll enjoy it. But for now, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one when we go in the green with the Turtle Skull. Bye for now.